Good third of you. Great. So for the rest of you, you've stumbled into a weekly event that we host here where two startups from the community come up here, tell you about the great things they're building right here in Tampa Bay, and then you as audience members, as recipients of free coffee, ask them questions, seek clarification, give advice, and think through your connections, who you know that you can introduce to these startups to help them grow their businesses, become global giants, and employ all of us in some sort of new high-tech field that we haven't even thought of yet, because all of our jobs will be obsolete in 5 years. My name is Sean Kennedy. I'm an organizer for 1 Million Cups, along with Marianne, Chris, Danielle, and JJ. Also, the main cog in the wheel that runs this is Carly, who actually does everything, puts everything together, so we always appreciate Carly. She also puts together those weekly emails that some of you get. They tell you about who presented here, how you can help them, how you can get connected with them, about other events going on in the startup community. If you're not getting those emails, there's a sign-in sheet right by the door behind that couple right there. If you guys would wave your hands to indicate that there's a sign-in sheet behind you, I would appreciate it. And the other main cog in our wheel is Cowell Coffee, or caffeine. We appreciate they've been our sponsors since the very beginning over the last 3 years. Did you know that in 2 weeks it is our 3-year anniversary of doing One Million Cups? Any presents you guys want to bring, we will gratefully accept those presents. Welcome to the Iron Yard class. Thank you guys for coming out today. If you don't know about the Iron Yard, they're an awesome coding academy downtown in the Station House building. You guys are running 2 cohorts right now? Yes. What are your 2 cohorts?
Front-end engineering, and back-end engineering with Ruby on Rails. And we're starting a 3rd cohort in November on .NET.
Nice. So check them out if you have some interest in coding. Look at all of their beautiful and attractive and successful students. You could be like that one day.
And demo day on October 1st.
Yes, October 1st. 7th. Come check out the cool things that they've built before they come present at 1 Million. So without further ado, I'm actually going to introduce Danielle, who was singled out as a presenter, because Danielle runs our first startup today, the Caregiver Accelerator.
I'm going to present in a minute. We're ready.
You can say the word, it doesn't tell me where it is.
Thank you, sir. Welcome. I'm Danielle Callahan with the Caregiver Accelerator, and I'm here with my partner in crime, Monica Stinchula. So when it comes time for the hard questions, I'm going to yank her and have her get up here. So we presented here last December with the Tampa Bay Caregiver Accelerator. How many people were here for that presentation? Remember it? Good, a few of you. So we had several of our graduates that have been up here presenting since. One of them's presented a second time, Marby. So if you were here a couple weeks ago, she got up here when her product launched in the Amazon store. So with the Tampa Bay Caregiver Accelerator, we work with startups in the caregiving space. So think of what is a startup in caregiving space. How many of you thought home health care? Oh, not as many as I thought. Usually when we talk about the Caregiver Accelerator, people automatically move to home health care. Well, there's so much more in the caregiving space beyond healthcare. There's products, there's technologies, there's services. There's plenty that I'll tell you a little bit about later. First, I want to tell you about our team. 3 of us are right here in the room: Monica, myself, and Marianne Bowers. Our 4th one, Patty Shea, is our social media rock star. She is an entrepreneur. She has her own company, and she also is a caregiver. So when she's out there tweeting and posting for us, she's really connecting with the caregiver because she understands it. And most people will be a caregiver at least at one point in their life, if not multiple times in their life. And you can be a caregiver of children, special needs children, spouses, parents. And that is why AARP is on our team at the top. If you notice that, you might have thought, well, why is AARP interested in caregiving? Well, for AARP, caregiver needs are a priority. There are 40 million unpaid caregivers in the United States. a good amount of either the unpaid caregiver or those that are getting help are part of their membership. And that's a big draw for them. And what the caregiving market opportunity, released by a study by AARP in January of 2017, focused on that it's going to be a $72 billion market by 2020. So when you wonder why we're focused on the caregiver in this space, $72 billion market, pretty huge market. Who doesn't want to tap into the $72 billion that are out there? This is a little bit of breakdown in that same study as far as where the money's being spent. And it's a little bit small, so if you want more detail, happy to share the report with you, link to it, it's on our website. You know, the biggest draw is daily essential activities. You know, of course, we all spend a lot of money on our daily activities. Another part of it, health and safety, care coordination. Our startups that we've worked with from January to May, they hit all of these. You know, some of them crossed over them, but we had at least one startup, two startups in each of these activities working with in our program. The $72 billion is forecasted to be spent by 2020. 80% of that is coming out of pocket. Well, where is it coming? How do you reach them? You know, that's what any good company is looking for when they're trying to reach their market. How do they get there? It's really easy if they're just trying to reach the insurance companies. You know, there's so many of them out there. They're going to trade shows or going to conferences. It's so easy to market to them. But how do you reach these 40 million unpaid caregivers? And that's part of what we do with the Caregiver Accelerator. We work with startups, concept stage businesses, and we help them further define their market, their value proposition, and how they're going to get to that market. So a little bit of details is it's an 18-hour program. We use two methodologies, So What Cares an entrepreneurial mindset profile, and work with our startups either over 6 or 9 weeks. It's a hands-on working program. So people are in there interacting with each other, giving each other feedback, and with that, they're coming out with something better than they went in. You're not working in a vacuum, you're getting other thoughts from other people, and you're walking away with not just relationship, but your next steps and your next plans. And many of those companies come in here to present because they're starting in the community. Oftentimes they're caregivers themselves, and they're trying to get help from the community. So when they finish our program, they've got a presentation to roll right into cups. We have used 1 million cups for our program because we have a pitch competition in the spring. And 1 million cups is our vetting process. So out of all of our companies that we work with, they present, and we have judges in the room that help score them based on their presentation of business model that then gets them to possibly be one of the 6 in the pitch competition, as well as our Florida Caregiver Conference, and then there's 2 winners. These are our graduates from our program. We worked from January to May with our pilot program, and in our pitch competition, our winners were Judges Choice Marby and People's Choice Artistas. So we had a panel of judges that scored, and they mostly scored on the business value. We chose the People's Choice because you're looking at caregiver startups, and that is such an important appeal, is how do they appeal to the people, and so that is the reason for it too. Marby went on to compete in Silicon Valley Boomer Venture pitch competition, and she came in 2nd place. So we're pretty excited with our startups. What's next? Jacksonville, Orlando. We're scaling. That's 0.1 million cups is a scale, and we want to replicate there. We need coaches, we need community partners, and we need a base camp for operations with our workshops and run the same models there, as well as running our same program again here in the fall. So we're taking in applications for that, as well as expanding to Jacksonville and Orlando. I will talk a little bit more about our community needs when I get that final question. But with that, I open it up for all of you to ask questions. This is for Monica, right? Go ahead.
So how do you get paid? Is it equity? Do you have to pay to get in?
Yes, so that is a great question. Applications, it's $500 to go through the program. You get a $50 discount if you're an AARP member. You can be a member at any age. You don't have to be a senior. So it is $16 to join AARP for the year. You can get discounts all over the place, but you save $50 on our program. And $500 sounds like a lot, but these programs are very expensive that we brought in here and we've been licensed in to be able to roll them out. And getting into the pitch competition, getting into the Caregiver Conference as an exhibitor, working on this program, it is worth so much more. And the time that you put in is just invaluable. We have a few graduates, if anybody ever wants to talk to them, they can. But we are also looking for any sponsors that want to underwrite that cost. When we did our pilot program, it was $200 each per person. And we know that if it's a caregiver startup and the person's coming out of caregiving, money might be tight. So if there are partners that are looking to do any type of scholarship underwriting, talk to Monica or myself. Sean.
So what differentiates the process with a caregiving company compared to a normal accelerator or something like that? What types of things do they need differently?
So there's a lot of different things, and there's many that are the same. So that's part of the methodologies that we are using can be applied to any company across the board. When it comes to a caregiver startup, is the way to reach that caregiver is very different, because the caregiver, you saw there's 40 million unpaid caregivers in the United States. They're very busy. They're very busy with what's in front of them. They may be holding down a job at the same time. They may be, that middle level, you're taking care of kids, you're taking care of parents, you're all over the place. So to reach them is a very different process. Your message has to be very different. And oftentimes, the startups in our program were caregivers themselves. So what we found in our first program is there's actually a very different emotional balance that comes with their startup. I've always worked with tech companies in the past, and so tech companies are quite different than caregiving companies. It's a lot softer, and the softer part has a totally different role in it as well.
One of the things that we found from people that were opening companies that weren't in the caregiving space is that AARP staff come in and they'll sit in the class and they'll help to sensitize you to things about caregiving that you normally don't think about because it's not where your mindset is. And so we help you to enter that market by helping you to understand what the needs are in that market, how to properly message to that market too. Like, don't call them old people, don't call them aged, they're senior adults. I mean, that may seem subtle to you, but it really is a big deal when it comes to proper messaging to be able to get some traction.
And we ran into a lot of that in class. So we would call people out as they said old people, or the lingo. Marianne and I aren't from the caregiving or healthcare space. And the lingo, when you're in that space, is tremendous. I mean, it's like that in any industry. But people start to forget that they're just using lingo over and over again. And if you're talking to a caregiver, the caregiver may not know that lingo.
One thing I do want to say, because I've had the pleasure of witnessing a lot of the program and I witnessed the pitch competition and all. The most important thing is, besides the fact that these people were caregivers, they understood what challenges they had to face, and so because they faced challenges themselves, they actually were able to actually come up with ideas that would overcome some of those challenges, and they were able to incorporate their ideas into their product and service. So they actually were satisfying a need for people who weren't even aware that these needs existed.
That's really good.
Yeah, we've had several information sessions, just to talk about what the program is more specifically, and people that are interested can ask questions. And the thing that we kept hearing over and over again, beyond what their experience was as a caregiver and how they came up with their ideas, they kept saying, "This is the year. I've had this idea, but this is the year. This is the year." And that's the thing, is when you go through caregiving and you find a problem and you find a solution, and you're through that, it's like then you have to take your breath and be ready to jump into it to make it a year.
Just a quick comment, not knowing anything just other than your presentation is your value proposition sounds like it's a lot higher than $500, i.e. saving them $1,500 or $2,500 or $9,500 in the States. So need the price as well.
Thank you. Chris, did I see your hand?
No, I had the pleasure of judging the competition, and you had two great companies, among others, Smarty and Artistas. I want your program to be successful. I do with a lot of accelerators. If they don't have a successful exit in the first couple classes or after a certain point, that can threaten whether or not the accelerator continues. So, two questions I have from that is, who are you looking to, who are your mentors from other accelerators? And if you don't have them, maybe start looking to them. And then the second question would be, even though you're expanding, tell us more about the expansion in Florida, but are you recruiting to kind of load your success success recruiting some potential young caregiver companies, where maybe you read an article about somebody in Columbus or whatnot who is starting something to try to get them to move here, join the program, to try to make sure you get some really success. So I guess just hear a little bit about
Sure.
that.
All these questions are great because they're going bullet by bullet what we're asking for the community. The next bullet will be Chris's second part as well. But we are looking for more support with our graduates. We are doing an alumni program where we get together every quarter with them. We bring them in, a lunch and learn type of activity. And with that, it's some type of education and some type of focus and some type of connection in the community. Mentors are invited to participate in that, but we need to vet you. We need to vet that you're going to bring value, that our companies are going to bring value to your time as well. So it's an equal distribution for what it is we're looking for as well as what it is you're looking for in mentorship. We've had some folks in the community that have volunteered their time. It hasn't been as formal. That's part of what we need to do is more formalize it. And they've had coffees, they've had conversations, they've made introductions, they've been part of our last week at our 6 or 9 week program. They've been there to listen to the presentations, give feedback, and offer to review presentations before they get up here to Million Cups as well.
Sorry to interject, but I meant your mentors, right? So not the graduates mentors, but there are dozens of accelerator programs across the country. There's more. Who is in your network that you're speaking with monthly on where were you, what did you do at this stage of your journey, what was important to get to that next step? Because the accelerator model, like you said, is somewhat of a known model. So who's been successful at that, or are you leaning on to help make sure that your model is successful?
Well, I know for me, from the training workshop type of activity, I'm doing some with the Wendy Kennedy. They have a whole network of professionals that are running the program throughout the world, and so we have regular calls, networks that I've connected with. And the person who certifies us in the Wendy Kennedy is Wendy Kennedy herself, and then she makes connections. The minute she knows that there's a synergy, she makes the introduction. So I've been working with a gentleman out of Dayton, Ohio. She's connected me with somebody in Jacksonville. But we're excited to be going in October to the Aging 2.0 conference in California because they have their own entrepreneurial boot camp. So we want to see how that goes, connect with them. Indianapolis, their healthcare network up there has been a good connection, but we do need to focus more on the growth, the scaling, the momentum, those types of things.
So AARP has a $40 million fund just for startups. $40 million. JP Morgan Chase is paying for the fund. It's in Washington, D.C. in an area called the Hatchery. If you want to get a look at what they're looking for, they just opened their website yesterday. It's called the Longevity Network. And you can go on there, and there's videos and everything else. But AARP is really getting into this space because, it is just such a wide open market. So we tie our new companies into AARP as tightly as we can. We're always making introductions. I use every connection I have within it. But then we also get our guidance from their innovation people there at AARP as well.
And I know as a judge in this competition, AARP brought Theo down here as one of the judges, and she's in their innovation department. She was so impressed and happy with our pitch competition that now they've said, with their pitch competition, they hold a spot for an incubator each year. Well, now they have decided that we're their incubator. So the winner of our pitch competition slides right into their pitch competition. So
it's really great national exposure. You're in front of Walgreens, Walmart, all the national corporations are the ones that come in for the AARP 50+ live pitch competition that's held at different spots around the country every year.
And so that
We have 2 winners, so both people are
our judge's choice, just the judge's choice. Yeah. But out of both winners, they get continuing mentoring through a team here as well as AARP's innovation team out of DC. Sorry, Kevin.
A lot of accelerators have different kind of metrics what they shoot for. So some accelerators are, hey, let's set a guideline and some milestones. We're going to grow 10%, or we're going to develop the product. What kind of metrics do you use when a company comes in to say, hey, this is where you are now, and this is where you are when you leave, and that kind of thing?
Great question, and I think I missed that in my presentation. We're more a pre-accelerator.
So it's early stage. Okay.
Very early stage. It doesn't sound as sexy in the title to say caregiver pre-accelerator, so we have to do a little bit more in our justification.
So
explaining
Yeah, sorry for being late. Probably missed the early start, bit of it, but you're helping companies develop their business model and kind of finalize and polish everything, right? Okay.
Get their plan to market,
Cool.
their penetration to market, their message to their market.
We'll speak a little bit to your expense load, salaries, overhead, that kind of thing, and at $500 per applicant, I'll piggyback on the gentleman's comment up front. How, if at all, are you generating enough revenue to cover those expenses?
Great question. AARP offsets the rest of the cost. They have money, skin in the game, and we're all independent contractors. So there's not an overhead. It helps keep the cost down. We still do, like a CEO of Reunion Care. I'm a startup consultant. Murray Ann is a tech recruiter placement. We all have our day jobs, so for us to be able to come in here, it makes it much more affordable.
So what kind of extras do you have? Is there co-working? Do you have access to investors?
We do not have any co-working. We try to work with our partners. So we tell the companies, go to My Startup Tampa Bay, look for all the partners. We're happy to introduce you, happy to tell you a little bit more about all the different co-working and incubator opportunities around here. We promote the different events that help startups. The Innovation Center has the Startup Exchange once a month. We send our startups there quite often because where else can you get free mentoring with an IP attorney for 2 hours? There's lots of things that happen in Tampa Bay that we don't need a service at, and so we promote that out there. And
Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Oh, interrupt the line.
We've relied on JJ quite a bit down in Tech Garage. JJ came to our pitches last year, and he was able to help some of our companies, and it's just nice to have that kind of relationship. So we want to work with the different opportunities around here. The programs they do here at the greenhouse. We're not trying to be a physical location. We're trying to be a concept of igniting something and keeping it going in the community. But we won't be a physical location. Does that make sense?
So just to clarify, are you a location? Do you host your own classes in a certain place?
No, we host our classes in AARP State Office, which is over in Carolina Park. And when that's not available, we host them at the Pointer, at the Innovation Lab at Pointer, where my office is. So no, we just meet for the classes and then go with it.
So first of all, to echo your point, I think that you probably can charge more because I think you picked a really good subsector in healthcare, right? That sector is going to explode over the next decade, next 20 years. All the boomers are aging out, everybody needs that kind of care. So I think there's going to be a ton of startups in that. Very good shape. So to that point, talk about your onboarding process, talk about how you're keeping a pipeline of fresh companies and ideas coming through. And then talk about what your long-term vision is for this. You said you scaled a little bit, Jacksonville. What's the big 3, 5, 7-year, 10-year vision?
Love that question. Do you want to go first? Or?
You go first.
Okay. So you got me so excited about the second question. So your first question was again? Oh, onboarding. Onboarding. Yes. Thank you. So marketing. Promotional partners. So we have an agreement that is set out to help promote what it is we're doing. So what it is we don't necessarily, we're always looking for sponsors for various things, but without any money out of pocket, we can enter into a relationship as promotional partners where you send our information out via email, your online calendar, your social network, that applications are open, and we reciprocate through putting your logo on all of our website, on our material that goes straight to our startups, because we have a nice little binder that goes straight to them, the materials on there, and a ticket to our opening reception the night of the pitch competition. So we have a relationship to help with our outreach and our networking without it costing any money. It's all about partners, getting the word out, getting the right people connected. In addition to that, we have an application process. It's a very short application because some people are concept stage. So you may not have all the details of how you're going to get to market. That's why you're coming to us. So it asks enough questions to know that you're interested. It tells you enough to know that it's going to be a lot of work outside of those 18 hours. But part of it is we have 2 sessions going, and we don't want competing interests in the same session. There is not a non-disclosure agreement because you're talking idea stage, and it's up to you whether or not you get into the details of how your idea works, because it's really about who your target customer is, what your message is, what your problem statement is. So the details are up to each individual, but we just want to make sure that if there is a competing founders startups, that they're moved. You know, that they're not in the same program. And if there's already somebody accepted, then we know not to accept somebody else in the round. But I'm going to answer the second question.
So answer the second question.
Scaling. So this year we are staying in Florida, Jacksonville and Orlando. And part of our scaling, we work with AARP to identify where we're scaling. But our vision is that Tampa Bay becomes the hub for the Caregiver Accelerator. Conference takes place here every year. Pitch competition takes place every year. Here, headquarters is here. You know, and we become the hub for caregiving innovation. Our conference last year, Florida Caregiver Conference, you know, we had exhibit tables for sponsors and for our startups. But this year, what we've heard from everybody is we need to make a bigger deal. It's the Florida Caregiver Innovation Conference. So there's a whole innovation trade show related to that. You know, we've heard that from investors, we've heard that from industry, we've heard that from sponsors, that it needs to be a bigger deal because there are so many caregiver startups happening out there, and to give them a space to exhibit and make this where they come to learn more about the innovation in caregiving. So that's our vision.
Yeah, so AARP is a 38 million member organization, 38 million members. And part of the mission of AARP is to make life better and the quality of life in the community even better. Sorry. That was
If you haven't seen her on TV yet.
But the goal behind that is to create companies and create an ecosystem of this market of fragmented care that's out there so that it's a better quality of life for AARP members in the communities as well. So AARP's investment in this has a long vision because they know they need an ecosystem that doesn't happen just here but happens everywhere. They are committed to talking about keeping caregiving and specialized caregiving here in Florida. And we even have the backing of some really nice thought leaders in aging that are saying caregiving should be in Tampa Bay. We have national partners like the SBA they have skin in the game with what we're doing. Excuse me. And Oliver Wyman, if you follow Oliver Wyman and all the economists, follow them online, and they're in healthcare, and they too are, you know, behind us in what we're doing. So you see how we're building it on levels, and so it'll be an ecosystem eventually.
Sure.
Last time you gave this presentation, it seemed like the focus wasn't specifically on, how do you say, Monica, aging adults? Senior adults?
Senior adults. Sir.
This time I'm getting the distinct feeling that you're focused specifically on senior adults, even though that's not a lot of the caregiving that I have seen. I mean, there are.
Yeah. Go ahead.
No.
So, I mean, are you open and receptive and have the tools in place to support a startup that's not just focused on senior adults?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Foster children being one of the ones I see out there.
Right, because think of it. The issues of caregiving, regardless of age, are pretty much the same. You have time management, you have resources, you have these things. So even though I talk about senior adults because I represent AARP, we know that
we're both almost one, yes.
Sorry?
I said because we're both almost one.
Yeah. He just called you old.
I call myself old too, much of
But a lot of the same issues that we see in that market, you're going to see in the other markets when it comes to caregiving. So that's why we think it translates to those other markets just as well. Danielle, you want to talk about which ones are doing aging?
Yes, now they really fast. I know we're running out of time, but adoption advocacy, like you said, it has to do with foster children being adopted, Artistic Development Center, special needs, spectrum needs for autism, Banyan's children. Caregiving app is calling from see anybody with need. That's supposed to be two separate lines. Marby, it's a system that really can be used for anybody with special needs. Memento has to do with memories that has anyone. Reunion Care is anybody who has medical needs management. Senior Smart Homes, anybody who needs a little bit extra technology into their home. And Singleton Legal is for the caregiver of anybody. They just opened their offices this month. Sean.
So would you go over again for us what we as a community can do to help you grow this business?
Thank you. We'll be here after if you have additional questions. Applications are open. Please share, spread the word. If you have a startup, we have an information session this Friday right here in this room at 9:30. You can look at the materials, talk to us, get specific answers. We're doing the same presentation at 1 Million Cups Tampa next week with an information session there on Friday. Sponsors underwrite scholarships. You know, I know it's a great value at $500. There are still some people coming out of caregiving that have no money. They've been spending all their money. People, mentors, connections, you know, talk to us, please. People in this room have, and we love it, we appreciate it, and we're going to come back being a little bit more formal with it. Connections in Jacksonville and Orlando for the caregiving community, and if you're interested in being a promotional partner or know somebody that is, you know, we have information, we can email information as well. So thank you for your time today and all the great questions. Might be a little biased, but I'm about to just going to bed. I'm up here to tell you about a couple events that are happening over the next week or so. You have, so next Money Tampa Bay, Bruce Burke came here a couple months ago to talk about it. It is a all-day coding event specific to the financial industry. So if you have any interest, it's on Meetup, Eventbrite, all of the event websites. As Danielle just mentioned, a little bit more of an in-depth information session about the accelerator will be here. And then you also have the Central Ave Solstice Celebration, which is a small business celebration all up and down Central Ave. So fun event to check out. And then also another day for developers, Bar Camp. I believe this is the 10th year or so. About 10 years they've had it. It's at USF Tampa, and it's a full day around developing, designing, marketing. It's completely free. It's on Eventbrite, and they put all of the different sessions and information up there as well for you to check out. And then also you have, I guess on the same day as the Iron House will be presenting their next round of apps. You also, what? Iron Yard, sorry. You have the Station House for you. And
tell us a story.
A story? Story time. I don't know. Sorry.
There's a, can I say something?
Sure.
There's an event tonight at Greenwich Brewery. It's called Creative Fidelis. And it's kind of a startup exchange with more focused on the arts community. I just found out about it, so I'm sorry. But it's from 5 o'clock to 7 o'clock. There'll be some vendors there with some gatherings of artists and some people in that area to talk and communicate, maybe get some help or advice or something.
Thank you, David. We'll give you more information if you need it. Anyone else have events that they think the community will benefit from talking about? Bueller, anyone? No? Okay. All right. Well, we've got it up and running, so you don't have to listen to me procrastinate up here, but please give a warm round of applause for Structure Trade.
So good morning. My name is Max Stewart. I have a small little company that I started up about a year ago called Structure Trade. And so today I'm going to kind of tell you a little bit about what Structure Trade is. So, oh yeah, before I talk about anything like this, trading involves risk. Do not use this as personal financial information. Please consult a financial advisor and all that different fun jazz that you have to say before you do anything pretty much these days. But how our company began. Like most of us, we like investing, we like stocks. But some of the research that I pulled showed that millennials, especially the 20s and 30s generation, invested when they knew the company. How many people wanted to buy Facebook the day Facebook came out? Did anybody want to buy Facebook? People, I was actually in a room with about 30 other people, and as we were watching the TV, and they were all like, I should have bought Facebook today, I should have bought Facebook today. Well, it was $32 that day, 2012. Today it's almost $121. So there are a lot of people that buy companies and buy stocks based on perception of what they want to do. And that's true both for men and women. So a lot of the people that we work with, a lot of the women actually buy more stocks that they have personal interest in, like Johnson & Johnson, Maybelline, any kind of company that has those kinds of things. A lot of people like to stay away from Monsanto right now. I don't know what's going on with that. But, so this is what we do. And how it began. I didn't get started trading until later on. I was about 29 when I got started trading. I was looking at the Forex and stock market basically to figure out how to pay for a wedding and a honeymoon. And so what I did is I found a group in a forum online, and I started following what they did, and by trial and error, practicing before I actually went in and do things. I found a strategy that kind of worked for me. and something that kind of felt right for me, and something that felt that matched my mentality and what I wanted to do. So we had to figure out what trading strategies worked best for me. Found some other people that had that same kind of trading strategies, and we talked a lot. We actually talked for about 2.5 years daily on chats and on a couple of groups in the morning, early in the morning when the UK was trading and different things like that. So we found a lot of similarities between a lot of us. The group that we formed in the beginning started basically because I really didn't like this. And if you know who this is, okay, so that is a lot of boring stuff to me. Basically, when you listen to things like those TV shows that are always talking about stocks, they're saying buy right now, buy right now, buy right now, sell right now. Well, really, is this the exact point to buy or sell in the stock market right now? Basically, he's listening to an earpiece and somebody's telling him what to say. He's not actually looking up at anything, he's just looking at a screen. So we really didn't like that. But when we talked to other people, we really understood what this is. Now, if you don't know what this is a candlestick. This is a candlestick pattern. This is basically what a charting looks like if you're looking at a stock market. This is the bottom of the stock market, and that's the top of a trading stock market. So there's a lot of different things we can get into and how it works, but basically what trading is you're looking at charts all day long. Well, I didn't really want to do that. I didn't want to look at charts. I don't have a day job, so I can't look at charting software all day long, but I wanted something to kind of tell me when I should be looking at certain stocks in Forex markets that I'd be interested in. So I really like this as well. This is the silver spot market for April of this year, and we learned a lot about how to do different things like this. Measure the structure, hence the name structure trade. So we measure structure levels for different stocks and figure out the natural point of inflection when people's emotions take over. When it gets to the highest point, people really like to sell because they're out of the market and then the market falls. When they're at the lowest point, people like to buy. So we base our whole mentality on structure, basic structure trading. And so we came up with this concept. I like eHarmony. The background for this whole thing is it was really good. My best friend met his wife on eHarmony. 2 years later, after their wedding, I got married to her younger sister. So we really thought the mentality of two people getting together on a lot of different markets really made sense. If you saw the news yesterday, Tinder just acquired Spotify's emotional chart for all their behaviors. So they can match the song list from Spotify on Tinder to people on Tinder as well. So everyone's starting to do emotional responses back and forth. So we thought, could you teach people basic market principles based on their personality profile? Hence we came up with eHarmony/trade. An idea with a daily log. We had charting software indicator sets, and there are 3 traders, one trading the Asian session, one trading the London session, and one trading the US, that is me. 2 PhD students who worked with us on the basic personality profile, 1 PHP programmer, 1 MQL4 programmer, and we created this. The first basic profile for the most conservative trader that you can possibly find. This chart is, I believe, the Aussie dollar chart. We do a lot with Forex markets. But this is a profile of 3 risk profiles for a person that would want to get into this market. The most conservative at the top, the middle kind of row conservative, and then the last conservative. And then the bottom red is a stop point for us. So we created a whole bunch of indicators based on this and how you can help. I'm going to actually show you a demo of the live account in just 1 second. Actually, you want to see the demo before we go to that?
Well,
6 minutes is really quick. So
can we see a live demo?
Yep. Great question, Sean. So this is actually running right now. This is an indicator, by the way. At the bottom, this is an alert bar. So you don't have to sit at your computer all day long. You just get an alert bar and it tells you what stocks are coming into an alert window area. This is only one indicator that we have out of 10 that we have currently. But this is a live chart. This is actually happening right now. This is the dollar CAD daily chart. This is basically where we saw the least risk of the profile at the top. And as you can see, if you were to short this market at this point, if you know anything about the Forex market, how you can short, buy, sell, anything like that, you would have had kind of a great run down there for about 120 pips in the market. So this is actually a live demo. Now, I will grant you this, at 2 p.m. today, this chart is going to go completely haywire because the Fed comes out with their interest rate announcements. And we have a whole list of things that you don't do. Don't trade during big news events, those different types of things. But this is actually live going on right now. So this is on, I actually have this on 17 different Forex markets right now. We have 3 indicators available for the stock market right now that are different profiles. And then most of it's on Forex because that's what we trade a lot more on than anything else. But so anyways, I'll just keep this running and we probably will do something fun here in a minute. But I'll open the questions. So in the back.
Have you done any kind of back testing on your algorithms? And if so, whose personality have you used?
Yeah, so that's a great question. I glossed over that real quick because we got low on time. We have a daily log going right now on our website. We've been running it since November of last year. And it's been pulling the most conservative profile, which as you saw in that one other chart, the top profile, it's been pulling that. And we've had about a 13% net return gain over those last 10 months. But it's only traded 27 times on one chart because it's the most conservative you can possibly get. So I saw one question.
Are you a proof of concept or do you have traction right now?
So we actually have 3,000 people around the globe that are trading that conservative profile for us on their own terms, when they want to trade, how they want to trade. It's all on MetaTrader right now for this one. The only one that we've actually released to the public is this one you see right here. Everything else is kind of in the back. We're waiting to release it as a package for different people. Once we get it, and I'll show you the questions how you can help in a second. So, any other questions?
How do you make money?
So we would sell the actual, somebody would go onto our website, they actually would put in their identity profile. It's going to be a 20 question survey. And then what it does is it frequently updates the charting package based on your personality profile. 3 things that really affect your personality profile are job, loss or gain of a job, relationship, whether it be a marriage, whether it be anything like that, and moving in a different location. If you're going to have to wake up, if you're going to move to California, you're going to wake up at 6 a.m. to trade instead of waking up at 7 a.m. here on the East Coast and trading right away. So there's a lot of different things that affect that, and we actually put that in, and then we sell people the software, the indicator package that goes with it. And we always tell people this is just to give you the scope of where you should be thinking to trade. We're not actually giving you trading advice. We're telling you, we don't want you to listen to the guys who are buy now, buy now, buy now, sell now, sell now, because we want you to see where you're most comfortable in your trading pattern at. Yes?
Are you selling a package software product and then they lay on top of that or vice versa their pricing and charting software?
Yeah, so basically it's on MetaTrader, which is like NinjaTrader. There's a whole bunch of charting platforms out there. This one is based on MetaTrader right now. So we would sell them the indicator package. They would get constant updates. It would update itself and reboot, and they would have to put it onto their own computer system, and they would be running it themselves. Yeah.
So where is the screen telling us buy points, sell points? What do you do with this?
Yeah. So the green bar is basically a sell point. I could go over in detail. We do a whole video on each of the indicators so people understand what they should do. And we always talk about paper trading first. If you're in the stock market, you've heard of paper trading. You never trade anything live right away. When you buy it, you always paper trade it. You practice trade it to see where you like it. The green bar is the highest inflection point for us on the chart where people possibly have bought before. So we tell you if that's the highest point they're coming at, you should sell at that point. The red bar is the lowest inflection point for people's price naturality. And so they would be saying this would be a low point, so you might want to, if the indicators line up exactly how you're supposed to, you probably would want to buy in this low range down here. So as you can see, the one interesting thing, if you would have used this indicator back here, it wouldn't have worked. It would have actually stopped you out on the trade. But this one on the top chart actually is in the green right now. This is actually running on my own account. I I have this one up demoing right now. And it's a lot of trade. We're like 110 pips to the good if you're in the Forex market right now. So, yeah.
So I kind of feel like there's a mismatch between like the market for this. It's like someone that wants to be day trading or trading like individual stocks, I feel like it's sort of much more kind of bought in than like, oh, the screen guard will be like because of my personality, I'm kind of conservative. You know what I mean? Like if you're going to be investing that way, I feel like those kind of people need to be just using financial advisors and tell them, hey, I'm conservative. This is my retirement date. You know, allocate resources for me. If I'm doing this, I'm going to be a hell of a lot more involved than like I don't know how to do this on that color.
But it's not that you don't have time for it. We actually tell people that if you look at it once a day or 3 times a week, it would give you a better profile. I actually haven't looked at this. The only time I looked at this when the alert came up on the window. And I said, oh, this might be a time to look at this chart right now or this market. I'm not actually, we're not saying that, you know, financial advisor, you're using your mutual funds, but if you're doing other stuff on top of that, if you want your own portfolio to manage, if you want to do anything else like that, this is something to help you do that so you're not sitting at a computer all day long or looking up different things. There are a lot of charting packages out there that people can sell you, but what we're saying is, look, don't even look at the charts all day long. Know this is your profile based on a lot of data points and collection points over about 2,000 users right now. This is kind of what we're looking at. And so we're still in concept. We only have about 10 indicators right now, but we're still working on it. So that's all. Hand in the back. Did you have a question? No? In the back, right?
Yeah, I think it's fascinating because I've been contending for years. The market's becoming more and more psychological and less fundamental, or at least that blend is really having an impact. I think it'd be interesting for you to be able to take data from, you mentioned a couple of thousand users and whatever statistically is determined to be a representative universe, so that we as investors can say, you know what, even though it makes no fundamental sense to buy Johnson & Johnson, because the market is affected by psychology more than fundamentals, and it's driving Johnson & Johnson up or down. I'm just curious if you have thought about, or if you're incorporating a way to collect market data so that you can then blend the market psychology with the personality profile of your investors.
We're trying to do that in a couple different ways. One is, if you're familiar with some of the basic indicators of stocks, is the RSI, a relative strength index of a stock, volatility index. Those are all mixed in at the bottom. You can actually see the RSI. This is the strength and weakness of the market. This got to a low point here. It's a little small to see in the back, but then it got to a high point. So there are a lot of different ways to do that based on volume in the stock and who's buying and selling. We're never going to beat the big guys who are trading hyper algorithmic trades every millisecond pretty much. But we're giving people a way to understand why they should be investing, when they should be investing, or what they should be investing, when they should be investing, and then talk to somebody about that. So, good.
Just an observation, and I know I came in late, but an observation on your presentation. You need to lose some of the jargon.
Okay.
Because I think I'm a pretty smart guy, and there's a few words you use that I have no idea what the hell you're talking about.
Okay.
All right, and I'm sure there's other people in the room who maybe don't understand certain aspects. Now, unless you're giving this presentation to people who are really actively in the market, then I think you need to bring it to the level of a 7-year-old. So if you would explain this to a 7-year-old, you can explain this to a room of people like us.
I try to get
or people like me. I mean, I would assume everybody else can do people like that.
I try to get my 9-month-old to do this, and he didn't do very well. So,
you might want to move up a little.
Yeah, in the back.
So how much am I paying for your service?
So we actually haven't set the full price yet because we're still collecting data. But a basic package will be probably the market, the bearing weight of the market for an indicator package. We've looked at a whole bunch of them. It's probably between $199 and $299 for a full year's charting package, plus all the support updates that you would get on the back end, because they do change coding every once in a while. So right around there is the rough idea. And this is just kind of advice to kind of know. That's kind of the basic. That's what the market will bear kind of right now.
You gave some examples of questions earlier, and so it sounded like it was a snapshot in time. I just changed my job or I'm moving. Well, what if, did you update that every week, or just I could wake up tomorrow and then I can have a completely different outlook?
Yeah. So we had there's a thing called luminosity. Have you ever heard of luminosity? It's like, how do you feel today? And like, I don't want to get into that, but every month and a half to 2 months, because the market psychology also changes by the season, believe it or not, when the summertime in Europe, they all go away for the summer, so the market really slows down. But we actually can give you an update. If you're, how are you feeling this month? Like what's going on? Is there anything big? And then we actually basically can change the parameters of your individual package based on different things that we've studied. We have 2 PhD psychology students in California right now kind of working on this as a sidebar project for some of their PhD thesis with us, and a professor out in California as well. So they're working on it. We're still in concept, but you know, this is kind of the basic idea that we're going to get.
So as an investor, we were always taught that you never trade on emotions and you trade on data. So if you're truly in this market, you're going to want to look at all the data that's there. So how does this change that venue that because you're looking at the emotions, right? You know, you move, or you're here, or you're there, all these different things. How does that change that concept of just pure outright data?
Yeah, that's actually the biggest hurdle we have to get over in the data collection point is we're not actually trading on emotion. We're giving you a psychology, but more of a psychology point. When you're having a really good time, when you want to be aggressive, when you want to be very conservative in your life, it kind of changes. And that's what we're trying to do. We're not trying to say emotional trading. We're trying to say psychological levels of trading. Because if you know the basics of stock markets, of course, support and resistance is a very key point in a lot of different markets. But that's what we're kind of doing, is talking about psychological factors that might influence your trading style and where you would be comfortable in. So you don't have to kind of look at the charts and go, am I here, am I here, am I here? No, this is kind of where, based on your profile and about 2,000 other profiles, this is kind of where that point of inflection comes for you. Yeah?
So looking at this, I see you have 2 different data sources, right? You have the market data sources that you buy from streaming indicators. Mm-hmm. But you also have another set of indicators which is coming from the person, their psychology, their thing. And to his point, you know, you're gathering that information. Wondering if you're doing any kind of research or looking into whether there is actually some kind of a correlation scientifically between those indicators and trading behavior of the person versus their biometric indicators.
That's something I'd love if I had more people in time to do that. That's one of the most important questions. Between the two, how do you mesh those very, very well and to create a very complete system for somebody that is interested in this kind of thing?
Well, you're gathering 2 streams of evidence, right? Yeah. You have the evidence of the person and their tolerance to risk and where they want to go.
Exactly.
You have the evidence of what the market is doing, its tolerance to risk and where it wants to go.
Yeah.
And meshing those 2 things together, I think, is an interesting logic problem.
To his point about taking the emotion out of it, you want to take the emotion out of it and go, this is where I'm comfortable, and if it goes here, great. And if it doesn't go here, I'm good. But where's the market going to drive it as well? I mean, you can kind of see if you understand this, it went up and down, and then it came back up and hit a psychological level, not an emotional level, but the market hit a psychological level and then fell back down again. It's actually kind of bouncing around up there right now. So that's what we're kind of trying to gather. That's why we're putting this through an entire year of data collection. Then we'll make sure we have the formulation correct. And we're not using it just on American data. We're using it on people from Asia who trade a lot more aggressively. If you look at the Chinese stock market, you'll understand that. And people from London who actually trade even more conservatively than Americans do on trade. So
and one more axis that you might consider is their actual personal financial data, their credit score and other indicators of their personal financial, their bank account level, their credit score, their income. All those things could be measured through clicking and
the amount of money they have in their account right now to do trading or anything like that. Yeah. So,
first of all, I hope you had a great wedding and honeymoon.
We did.
It just started, and I appreciate your first slide as a financial advisor. That disclaimer was great. What is your target market? What is, because I see the emotional part and trying to blend that all together. Do you have a pinpoint target market or a range of target market you're trying to?
So yeah, we're looking at a person probably in their late 20s at this point, like a millennial, somebody who would have been around when Facebook was created and actually been just out of college or out of college. So probably in late 20s. This profile indicator actually works. We've had people trading this into their 70s, like paper trading this. And again, this is all paper trade right now. We're not actually trading this live with anything. But there's actually a couple people in Asia that are on our team in Asia that are actually about in their 70s that just sit and literally have insomnia and they stay up all night and just trade the U.S. stock market when it's open. But there's people in all those age groups, but really nobody under the age, really under the age of about 28 or 29 is in this profile right now. So, and that's what we're using the PhD students to do, is to make sure we're collecting the data in subsets and then compiling everybody's data together.
I've been thinking back to, I think, one or two earlier questions on if somebody's really sophisticated and they're tracking a lot of data, that something based on motion might not appeal to them. But I keep thinking back to the local Wall Street and people thinking that those guys were crazy. But the whole idea is if you are maybe more of a risk taker and you are looking for a piece of data that other people don't have, because you have to assume all of the quantitative data, all kind of traders have access to lots of these products, right? But if you maybe want to be a little bit more of a risk taker and say, hey, even though all that data in everybody else's system says that this is going to continue to apply, I've got, you know, a secret weapon that says based on motion, maybe it will change. So maybe this, I mean, in my mind, maybe this is more of a tool for those who are the higher risk taker, but looking for something else to give them an edge. I mean, is that the marketing? It's a steroid for.
It's really psychology. It's not emotion. We're talking about psychology. If anybody knows, this is the pound-dollar chart. This right here is 1 day in May. It's Brexit. This chart changed so much in 1 day. And this is a weekly chart. I couldn't even pull data back to the daily chart. So yeah, there were a lot of people like, oh yeah, it's going to go up. Soros is saying it's going to go up. This guy's going to say it's going up. But really, it went down. And it lost a lot in 1 day. And that is actually 1 day's worth of data. That's the inflection for 1 day out of a weekly chart. And if you understand weekly charts, that's a big deal. So, yeah, so that's kind of what we pulled into the data chart. And we play this on the daily chart. This is actually a weekly chart, but you can pull this up on the daily chart. And yeah, that's the daily charts that we use to look at long term.
I wanted to give one follow-up on Chris's comment is, you know, the psychology, you get the differentiation between psychology and emotion. Yeah. You're not going to take emotion out of the market. More volatile, more emotional, people are going to make their decisions. But harnessing the psychology and helping to trade upon that would be a great benefit.
Real quick, and I get to how you know.
All right, yeah. I'm a lot dumber than Stuart, so I understood less of this. But the one thing, you keep coming back to the emotions of the market, and I get the emotions on me as an individual investor side, but when you talk about the emotions of the market, we are not the market. All of us in this room can invest as much as we want, and large institutional investors squash that by magnitudes of thousands in a stroke, and they are not investing on emotion. They're investing on, I don't know, I'm going to go with whimsy. But how can you talk about the emotions of the market when individual investors have little, if any, control over the direction of the market? I could have wanted to buy Facebook all I wanted to, but they're over to sell it to.
Well, we're trying to pull the emotion. The thing I want to get away from is the emotion, and that's something great to deal with. We're talking about psychology, market psychology more than anything else. So it's not about your emotions or the market's emotions. We're talking about the market's psychology. And I think that there's a big difference between psychology and emotion in the market. Volatility is one thing, but emotion we're trying to get out of that. So yeah, but that's the basis of what we're trying to do is pull the psychology out of the T-student with the psychology people to make sure that we're not using emotion, but we're actually using psychology in what we're doing and not emotional trading.
So Max, how can we as a community?
Very good to you and ask the questions. And I'll stay around for a few minutes and answer anybody else's questions that they have. You guys, I'll actually leave you running for a second. But how can you help? So we will be needing profile testers, personality profile testers to actually test our personality profile. We will be creating a survey. So if you want to get in with that survey, you can go onto our website and you can actually register as an account. And we're going to be sending out a profile survey for everybody to take. It's going to be a beta test just for a survey. If you really want to help us, that'd be awesome. We're also need people to help us paper trade. And I emphasize the word paper trade data, which is not live trading. You're not actually trading with an actual account with real money in it. It's fake money. But for the data collection, we're going to be putting out another set of indicators in about a month and a half that will actually be a little bit more advanced than this one for a second level person who wants a little bit more help. And we also are going to need MQL4 app developers and people who want to advise on kind of trading at level 7 investor or anything like that. But we do need people that can help us explain the different models and make sure that we're on the right path and we're not edging over lines that we need to be crossing. We have a little bit of legal help, but we're just trying to make sure that we're not crossing any lines of actual, different things like that. So these are the 3 things we can do. Here's our website. Our website's structuredtrade.com. Very, very simple. We have a Twitter. We put out 3 or 4 things a week. And then our website, if you go to our website, we do a commodities thing, we do an international markets thing, we do a Forex thing, we do a local stock markets thing. And we currently are going to be, we have about 2,000 testers from around the world who are working on this one data point that we're talking about right now. So with that, thank you very much.
Thank you, Max and Danielle. This is a huge room today. Let's try to keep it up. Thank you again, Darren, you're in class for coming. Just so you know, when you're not in class, you're always welcome to come back and join us every Wednesday. If this is your first time or you just need a reminder, if you are interested in coming up and presenting here, you can be at any different stage of your company as long as you're doing something innovative, scalable, less than 4 years in business, less than $1 million in revenue. So it still leans on the early company startup side, but it could be at the, I have an idea, I've got a presentation around what I'd like this idea to look like, I'd like to put that idea in front of the room here. It could be, hey, I've just launched a product and now I need help getting to the next stage. Whatever that may be, there's not one single profile type of a company other than they're generally a younger company doing something innovative and they need help from the community. Get out of your office, come into the room, stand up here, and have ideas and challenges in front of the room instead of the same 2 or 3 people that you're sitting with. It's really, really helpful to get to that next stage. There's a sign-up list in the back if you want to get our weekly emails about who's presenting. Carly will send those out, and Mike says video of all of the presentations here. Go to 1 Million Cups St. Pete, register yourself onto that website. That way you get all the updates and information and put your company or your idea in there. Just because you put your company in our portal doesn't mean that that schedules you to come up here and present. They're 2 separate stages. The first stage lets everybody here know, hey, this is who I am, this is my business, I'm working on this idea here in the community. And there's a separate button that says, okay, now apply to present that company up here at One Million Cups. So if you have any questions about the program or how to present, we will be up here hanging around to answer. So thank you, see you next Wednesday.